So if you are able to make this one little reform, probably the discoms will be on the side of rooftop solar. And who knows, next year we can, in one financial year, we can do 5 gigawatts alone. So this is what I have to say. I'm sorry I've taken a little longer than I intended.
Thank you, Ritu. Quite a unique proposition which you have shared. So I think for DISCOM to actually penalize a RESCO developer or a customer is very easy, because it is in their jurisdiction area, and the thing is since the rooftop solar usually provides 5 to 7% of the overall energy requirement, it becomes easier for any DISCOM to come and say, okay boss, you are not following a specific thing, either you have to disconnect the system or you need to do this and that, and it becomes, from the customer point of view also, it becomes what he will be losing is around 5 to 7% of a cheaper power. He compromises, okay, it's okay. Either you get this permission or the solar power is not running. So maybe if at all the government has come up with a scheme where they are planning to incentivize DISCOM about how much solar units they will be generating on a year-on-year basis, maybe that would be one of the points that may help DISCOM to come up with some incentives, and they might encourage a rooftop in a given area. And second is what Ritu mentioned, yes, for the industrial customer, they will be absolutely okay if the net metering units are adjusted based on the APPC, because at the end of the day, I think if at all it's APPC also, it will be okay with them, unless they allow the system to run on a regular basis, because anyhow the saving, what they are saving is the amount of solar. Yeah. So anyhow, for a developer point of view, whatever the net metering adjustment is there, it is between the customer and the DISCOM to settle. So anyway, the developer's revenue is pretty much is assured with the power that they are generating. Just to have a different point of view about how the EPC companies in the rooftop segment see themselves as, I'll request Mr. Mantan to share his view on the EPC part of.
Good afternoon. It took nearly 2 years for me to transition from utility player to a rooftop player, actually. I've been known as a utility player all along for nearly 10 years or so. So 2 years I've been working in rooftop. The first time I'm sitting in a rooftop meeting, actually. Otherwise I used to be one thing I've noticed is, I think, there has not been a proper representation for rooftop in any of the forums. Like the way we used to, most of the policies I used to be the backbone. I participated in quite a few state policies that came out also. But I've never seen in the last 2 years a rooftop, a team representing their issues to either the DISCOM or a state or anything. The first step should be to look at that and form a team. There is no rooftop team. We talk about here, even CIA, when I participate, they only discuss issues related to the never ever rooftop issues are discussed. Neither, okay, and presented tabled also. Even the other day, when he talks about the issues representing, it used to be a PG speech. Okay, coming back to that, okay, there is one thing which I think rooftop team, whoever is going to lead it, can lead it. There are particular players, that itself is a major challenge. Coming together and then forming a rooftop national task force that can represent and address issues that are raised here. In my opinion, there are two issues in rooftop, two segments in rooftop. One is that you have residential and then commercial, and the other one is captive for industry. I think open access I still put it in the utility scale, and we are not into this. In this, first thing, why I came into the rooftop, because I used to hear subsidies are not going to be there. I was very happy when I saw an article in Vinod saying that Telangana government has removed the subsidy. I am very, very happy, so that I spend more time in rooftop. But how many of you would like to contribute to that? Because still the problem is that you go to a consumer and say subsidy is there. Still people go out of the room and say look for a subsidy to put up a solar plant in their house. I think rooftop will not take off. The fundamental issue in my opinion is rooftop. Subsidy should not be there. And we should not be running around DISCOMs and then, or the renewable agencies for our business. We should be going behind customers to get our business. So, the guys who are actually surviving, because they go behind these two governments and they survive with no problem. The moment you remove that, I think thanks to Radhika today, she shared her article. I think a lot of them shut shop. Basically because yes, so subsidy is going off and you find that people not going to the government business, they'll shut shops slowly. The one who spends in his products, in his services will survive on rooftop. And in 2 years, I think maybe my company that I'm advising today, I think will receive an award basically because we spent our energy using those 3 latest technologies that we talk about, AI and then analytics and then all that, and build our own technology products in that space, components in that space. So I think that's how we're getting that award. I'm happy for that. That is what we should be doing that so that we can survive on rooftop. Otherwise, it is an integration business like a software integration. You buy the product, you integrate it. How many of them have their own skill sets in surviving? That is what I would like to see for company to survive on rooftop. I think I can go on, so you can ask me to otherwise. Basically, remove the subsidy, don't go behind. So government agency for business, so go behind the customer, and there can be a task force, rooftop, so we can take the initiative to do it. They're addressing the largest number of states in India. Yeah.
There is an association that we formed for precisely that reason, because when we formed it 2 years ago, it's called the Distributed Solar Power Association. And for any of you who is interested in joining, I'll be right here and I can guide you to the. And a number of leading rooftop players are already members, including many people on this panel. Some, I don't even know if you guys are aware of it, because of precisely this reason, that our share of voice was not there. People were always discussing utility and then we were a footnote for this reason.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mantan. We do have an association for rooftop, and now we have, in fact, we have now started taking up with the government also on the issues that we are facing. Yeah, so to continue the discussion, we'd like to have view of CleanMax Solar about how they are actually facing the challenges regarding the project finance as far as the rooftop business is concerned. Because the rooftop in the current scenario, we are the project finance is one of the key things, because we have been talking about a lot of World Bank line and the Asian Development Bank line which has been given to SBIs and the PNBs, but I don't think this actually has come to many of the players. So I'd just like to have his view on the project financing as far as the rooftop business is concerned.
I am Vamsi. I am representing CleanMax Solar today. Right, and to just give you a brief about our company, as CleanMax Solar, we have around 200 megawatts of distributed on-site solar installations and about 350 megawatt of off-site solar solutions. And we are in a very niche space where we serve, like most of the players over here, only to the we cater to the corporate clients, mostly the commercial and industrial clients. So I think few key points to take away here are like to grow this market, especially on the distributed solar, on the rooftop part. Few things are the government regulations, certainly yes, that I agree with, and we are heavily dependent upon DISCOM. But the other part is how you finance your projects itself to make it a viable business case. Right? If you see, there's a lot of government hand into it also. And the financing for renewable projects in the past has varied a lot. Sometimes it was very low because we had good line of credit from, say, World Bank or the ADB basically that was getting distributed via Indian banks like SBI and so on. So everyone made a good run over there. And also sometimes the financing comes from the international agencies which are at very low debt rates. Usually, and you hedge for it and you end up with around 8 to 9% kind of a figure of financing cost, right? But nowadays the scenario has completely changed. That's majorly due to the lot of interest from the government, especially from in the form of safeguard duty, which made it difficult, especially for the rooftop players or distributed solar players to go and get new projects. And in the same lines, this sentiment has got transferred to our financing partners also, and it has become more and more difficult to raise equity as well as debt on the financing part of it right now in the market. And especially if you look at the debt part of it, the financing is almost upwards of 11% and so on, which is as you might be aware, it's a very big, huge finance cost for any kind of business, not just solar, right? So that's the challenge which we should be probably targeting and trying to basically trying to figure out a way to how do we mediate that. And one good suggestion from Mr. Mantan has come out that we should remove subsidies, and Our MD Shri also had has been very vocal about it in the past, where we are just asking government to stop this subsidy program altogether and rather enable the RBI and the other financing institutes of India to give loans or a debt at a very or a better interest rate or a cheaper interest rate. What will happen is that will inevitably grow your private sector business in general, and you do not rely on subsidy. Once you stop relying on subsidy, it will take its own natural course of any business, and then you will figure out ways how to finance project and how to make it sustainable. And that should be the way forward we should be looking at. And also right now, if you see, there is the renewable energy is under a reserve category for especially the financing part, right? And because of which there is a limit on to how much RBI or the other financial institutes in India can allocate towards the renewable projects. Probably removing that cap would be one good idea, where it will release a lot more potential for the players, both in rooftop as well as utility scale players who are into renewable energy, to get funded or get financed for their projects at a better cost. Mostly that's it. So two things I would suggest, what I would like to suggest is that one is we should move away from subsidy, definitely, because that's not a sustainable way, and rather focus more on cheaper cost of financing. And the second point is remove the cap on how much the financial institutes can actually finance renewable projects, right? Basically, remove the renewable category from that reserved category in the RBI, so that you have more financing options basically, and more funds available to you to finance more and more projects. From financing point, I think these 2 points will take this category forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Vamsi. Regarding the subsidies concerned, so definitely from the commercial and industrial part, the subsidy has already been removed. So now the focus is mainly on the residential part. And yes, to increase the overall rooftop thing, it is very important. Government should come up with something which is easily accessible, because as of now we have been talking a lot about the World Bank grant which has come to SBI and the Asian Development Grant which has come to PNP, but it is not easily accessible to the developers. So in fact, that's a very important point. If we want to increase the rooftop penetration in India, the debt financing needs to be made much easier. Now we'll have views of SOurabh. He is mainly into the residential sector. Would like to understand what are the challenges that they are facing in the residential sector as far as the customer acquisition and the EPC is concerned, and also on the financing of the residential sector, because that's a very important point, and I think it's a major roadblock also.
So just to give you guys some background, Flare Energy is a 5-year-old rooftop solar company based out of Hyderabad. In the last 5 years, we've designed, sold and installed over 1,200 systems across 19 states in India. We have a 250 odd third-party sales network also that we've built out. And we've expanded internationally to 3 other countries. Most of our clients tend to be in the sub 100 kilowatt category. Actually, a big portion of our sales does happen in the residential category. For us, we mostly operate on a capex model where the customer pays us by the time the installation is complete, and then we move on. I think between CleanMax and Amplus, people have been talking about removing subsidies. That actually applies most to us, as Rajan pointed out. It confuses the customer. That's one big challenge. For a residential customer or a micro small enterprise, if they feel that they're going to get subsidy, they'll delay their decision by at least 6 months. They're in no rush. And that confusion actually creates more problems. We have in the past recommended, at a residential level, it's far more effective for the government to give a tax break on your income tax rather than, try to provide a subsidy to a homeowner, because we've seen time and again, Mr. Mantan pointed out, we've seen so many companies go under because they were relying on subsidies coming in from the government to them. That never really came. The other challenge that we see is around financing. We have, on an ad hoc basis, been able to get financing for both residential and our small-scale commercial industrial customers from banks. The loan sizes have ranged from a few lakhs to a few crores. The terms have ranged from 3 years to 6-7 years. I do see some change happening on the bank side as it relates to starting to finance this on a more systematic level, but it's nowhere close to what it's supposed to be. In theory, if I'm able to go to a customer and say, look, this product comes with a loan from a bank and your monthly EMIs are less than your cost of electricity offset, I think we wouldn't need a lot of salespeople at that point. It's a straightforward exercise. I think that's one of our biggest challenges that we face today. The one part where, I think Ritu had mentioned spoke about utilities and sort of the challenges that all of us are facing. On the net metering side, it's not that they make it easy for us to get net metering for even our small scale customers. I think I have a slightly different take on it. Challenge that I see is that it's a very short-sighted approach. India as a country, our per capita consumption of electricity is 1/3 the global average. We consume about 1200 units per capita. The US is at 20,000, China is at 8,000. Prosperity is increasing, our consumption is going to go up at a fairly rapid pace. Sure, India looks like it's energy surplus right now. I don't think that's going to remain for a long time. So I think this whole approach of the utilities sort of treating us as, finding ways to stop this solar thing is really, you're trying to build a dam to stop a tsunami, effectively. We've always believed in private sector solutions. I think the other problem that the utilities are not anticipating that we'll start seeing now is your energy storage costs have come down 80%. So, I can just as easily put up a system with a battery for a customer and it still gives a payback period of 4-5 years. And battery technologies have improved. Inverter companies, we have SunGrow here. Inverter companies now work with batteries at a scale at which was not happening 2-3 years back. So I think those would be my views. I definitely also agree with the panel's view on having a unified voice, which makes it easier for the sector to grow. And I think you had Vamsi from CleanMax. I think my final point of view is I'm a firm believer of no government intervention. We don't want special treatment. We don't want to be in the limelight. Just leave us alone. Let us grow our business the way, let the private sector grow the way it grows. Let the customer decide what's the source of power they want to take up. If it's solar, it's solar. If they want coal-based power, well, go for it. Right? It's the customer's choice. So I think if they're able to step back, move even the lending piece away from special category to just a regular private sector category, I think that would help growth substantially.